In the Handbook of Child Life, Richard Thompson wrote, "Those who enter the field of child life daily encounter those in our society who are among the most vulnerable. Vulnerable because of their age and their ways of interpreting the world. Vulnerable because of their physical circumstances. Vulnerable because of the unfamiliar they encounter. Vulnerable at times because of additional barriers such as language, poverty, or prejudice. Yet the child life specialist understands that each individual, despite the vulnerabilities he or she may bring to an encounter, also brings strength and resiliency. The task of the child life specialist is to build upon these strengths, to minimize individual vulnerability, and maximize the growth of the individual." Children come to us at a formative period. We strive to protect them in every way, physically and mentally. And though they may be frightened by their stay in the hospital, we can improve their outlook for the better and influence the quality of their experience. In the 30 years since the Child Life Council was established, the essence of the Child Life mission has remained the same. Child life professionals empower children and families to cope with the stress and uncertainty of illness, hospitalization, and other stressful life events. They embrace the value of play as a healing modality and promote children's optimal growth and development through assessment, intervention, prevention, advocacy, and education. Play was introduced into some hospitals beginning in the 1920s, and as hospital administrators started to recognize the benefits, the number of play programs slowly began to grow. As early as 1937, Ann Smith, a nurse from Children's Memorial Hospital in Chicago, acknowledged the importance of play in a hospital setting. "Like a stranger in a foreign land who suddenly hears his own language," she wrote, "the child reaches out to play as an assurance of friendliness in a bewildering situation." In 1955, Emma Plank, the mother of child life, was asked by Dr. Frederick Robbins to address the educational, social, and psychological needs of children receiving long-term medical care at City Hospital, now known as Metro Health Medical Center in Cleveland, Ohio. It was Emma who first coined the term child life. In 1962, she published one of the first books on child life, Working with Children in the Hospital. Play in the hospital is valued not only as a way to entertain children and provide a sense of normalcy in their otherwise disrupted lives, but also for the opportunities it affords for working through the emotionally difficult experiences of illness and hospitalization.
The question is asked, what do you like most about the Child Life program? And I got to say, what is there not to like? The Child Life program is very, very rare in the fact that it's not based on medicine. It's based on heart and soul. It's based on joy. It's based on allowing a child and reminding a child that they are a child even in the hospital.
Hospitalization is a very, very difficult and stressful time for families and sometimes fear-provoking for the kids. And even though we in healthcare, particularly in pediatrics, feel that we're very good at what we do with children and families, I believe that the child life specialists come in with a tremendous skill of bringing comfort to the child and allaying their fears, particularly when they face things like medicines and procedures. But more importantly, I think they also bring a benefit beyond what we can provide to them in just making them happier and accepting.
Through play and other modalities, child life specialists prepare children and families for medical encounters, especially procedures, promote family-centered care, offer pain management techniques, and support families coping with grief and loss. Today, these practices are widely considered fundamental to treating the whole child.
Our son Chase, that's why these places are called Chase Child Life, died of a brain tumor. And when he was in the hospital, it was very difficult, of course, on the family and on his sisters. And one of the things that you notice is that the kids are having a real hard time coping and dealing with this. The child life specialist gave my daughters, who at the time were very young, you know, 4 and 8, right? Gave my daughters the tools to cope. When they go to school and you have a sibling that's, you know, terminally ill, kids are not that nice to, they don't mean to be not nice, but they're not that nice. And they say mean things. How do you deal with you're not going to see them anymore? How do you deal with all these issues? And the child life therapists have tools to do that, you know, from writing a letter to putting it in a balloon and letting it go on his birthday, right? My daughters did that for 5, 6, 7 years in a row after that till they got older.
I remember being 6 years old in the hospital, and I was going down to get my PICC line, and my mom couldn't be there, and I remember a specific child life specialist at CHOP. Her name was Kate, and she was with me throughout the whole process. And I remember just silly conversations that we were having, but having her there has really stuck with me my whole life, and having someone there for me and someone to have those silly moments with, to escape from getting a PICC line as a 6-year-old was something that was really, really special to me, and obviously it has had a big impact because I remember it as a 19-year-old looking back.
Child life philosophy is based on the work of many psychologists and researchers, including Spitz, Erikson, Robertson, Bowlby, Anna Freud, Piaget, Thomas, and Chess. In 1975, Wolfer and Wiesenthal validated our work as professionals by demonstrating that adequate preparation by trained personnel can diminish the negative psychological consequences of hospitalization and medical procedures for children.
Well, I think my whole career started actually with child life services. So as a child psychiatrist, I mean, you really think of children, either in mental illness or physical illness, how important it is to get them back on their developmental course. And if we can make that small change during the vulnerable period of their illness, how effective that can be long-term in their life.
In 1983, with funding provided by the Association for the Care of Children in Hospitals, a team of child life specialists, researchers, and consultants began to evaluate an experimental child life program at Phoenix Children's Hospital. They found that children exposed to child life demonstrated significantly less emotional distress, more effective coping, greater understanding of hospital experiences, better overall adjustment in the hospital, and better post-hospital adjustment. The results were published in the book Psychosocial Care of Children in Hospitals. Many earlier studies had reviewed individual aspects of child life, but this was the first study that examined a child life program as a whole. Today, an increasing emphasis on evidence-based practice has encouraged child life specialists to continue their involvement in research in many areas, ranging from pain management and comfort techniques to family-centered care. They are actively collaborating with professionals from other healthcare disciplines, as well as supporting organizations. New scientific discoveries and methods of treatment are constantly reshaping the face of medicine, and child life practice has evolved to meet the changing needs of children in different healthcare settings. The toys we play with have evolved too, but the essence of play has stayed the same.
After spending some time viewing and reviewing the oral histories from the Child Life archives, I've been able to see 3 themes that emerge from the stories. The first theme reminds us that play and early play programs are really our foundation, the gist of which is captured in the phrase, play. It isn't the icing on the cake, it is the cake. The second theme really is a reflection on the nature of our work, the relational practice that allows us to meet the needs of children, not sick children, not hospitalized children, but children first. What's unique in the role of child life is the focus directly on the relationship with the child first, without a secondary motive to weaken our interest in discovering who that child is at that moment. And finally, I heard many child life leaders suggest that we help children get to their future. I think we all have our stories to tell about how one small action led to a significant change in a child that allowed him or her to move on with life. Of course, play, or the suggestion of play, is often the mode that allows us to reach the child in that first place.
In 1980, Jean Stanford, a leader in the field, challenged the child life community to propel the profession into adulthood by achieving 3 important goals. First, develop a clearly defined role for the child life professional. Second, specify the qualifications of a child life specialist. And third, establish control of who can enter the profession. In response to this challenge, the Child Life Council was founded in 1982. The organization started under the umbrella of the Association for the Care of Children in Hospitals, then became an independent professional association in 1992.
It's been Child Life Council that has, I feel very strongly, enabled us to increase our professionalism, to enable us to communicate with each other at a professional level, and yet also have some fun and develop relationships. And it's been a rewarding experience, and also to see that Child Life has grown to such at an incredible pace, I feel. But we have many challenges ahead of us.
In the early years, CLC and its founding members built the foundation of a profession grounded in sound psychological theory and clinical research. The mission remained the same: to promote the developmental integrity of children experiencing significant stress and trauma within the healthcare environment.
What they bring, though, is teaching skills, coaching skills, they bring warmth, they bring fun, and they bring a real understanding of how all of these elements integrate with nursing care, medical care, and the things that matter to a child and his or her family.
The techniques that child life specialists are trained uniquely to provide are very helpful to the care of children in our hospital. So I would say that we could not provide the kind of high quality, outstanding care that our children and their families deserve without child life specialists.
Under the direction of CLC's first president, Jerry Ann Wilson, the Child Life Council revised and reissued the original 1979 Child Life Position Statement issued by ACCH, a highly symbolic act of independence. The early members of the Child Life Council also struggled with what to call themselves. After a series of heated debates, members settled on the title of Child Life Specialist.
I was fortunate to be a participant in a conference in Dallas, Texas in 1980, which 200 of us were staying in dorms at Southern Methodist University. And we had 2 all-day sessions facilitated by Jean Stanford, in which we were asked to sort of discuss the whole field of child life and define our name, define our purpose, define many things that later on we now take for granted. But in those 2 days, not only I think were we helping define the profession for other folks, but we were defining it for ourselves.
CLC began work on establishing qualifications for child life specialists with a series of official guidelines and publications. In 1986, CLC initiated a professional certification and credentialing process, and by 2004, all child life specialists were required to be certified by exam. Today, the exam can be taken at computer-based testing facilities in hundreds of locations worldwide. CLC's committees and task forces remain essential to the success of the organization. Among many other activities, these volunteer groups continue to establish and update standards for educational preparation and clinical practice, administer CLC programs, products, and services, and preserve the history of the Child Life Council and the profession. A number of these groups are also taking the first steps to help the organization achieve the ambitious goals outlined in the CLC Strategic Plan for the years 2012 to 2014, helping to ensure the continued progress and growth of the profession.
The very delicate balance of the joy and the informality that we have during our day in working with children and wanting to create a positive, nurturing environment with coming to the table at a hospital meeting or in some other forum where we say we are professionals, we have credentials, we have standards of practice, we have a code of ethics. And I think as the council continues to help push us to do that, and as professionals we step up and be part of that effort, I think the more we will be viewed as equal professionals along with nursing and social work.
Child life specialists advocate for children and families in the hospital, while the Child Life Council advocates for the profession. Two voices with the same message. Child life specialists are interpreters of medical language for children and families through play, preparation, and emotional support. They now advocate for children in both pediatric and adult care settings. Increasingly, child life specialists are supporting and advocating for children in other environments, including community outreach programs, private medical and dental practices, special needs camps, and schools. In 2008, Child Life Beyond the Hospital was published, exploring the practice of child life in alternative settings. In 1978, the American Academy of Pediatrics recognized the importance of child life services with the publication of the first policy statement on child life services. Jean Stanford's challenge to the child life community continues to drive the strategic work of the Child Life Council as it celebrates 30 years of supporting children and families through the work of its members. The core questions first asked by Stanford are more relevant than ever to healthcare in the 21st century. We need to continue asking ourselves, who are we? Who do we serve? What do we need to know? More and more, we are seeking evidence based in research to help guide the decisions that we make each day.
I think one of the very important pieces where we've grown, and we've really recently grown in the last 5 to 10 years, is really looking at our professional identity as child life specialists. And what does that really look like and feel like? And really a piece of that is really looking at the breadth and depth of what is professional and what is professionalism. And that as an organization of Child Life Council, we have taken leaps and bounds in looking at how we perceive ourselves, what is our marketability, what are we using to help people to truly understand the depth of what we do, and taking the history of play and the importance and the value of play, but taking that from a place of being a play ladies or play people, all to the place right now where we stand as a child life specialist from a comprehensive approach to supporting children and helping them to cope with healthcare experiences, with anything that they really need to cope with in life. You can see where child life can really be applied.
I've always had a special place in my own heart and in my mind for the work that the child life professionals have always done. They have become essential parts of the healthcare team. I've watched the profession grow over those 30 years so that no longer do you have to fight for recognition. Now people fight to say, I need a child life specialist on my unit or in my program. And that's what we see here every day. We've watched child life professionals really change the course of treatment and the outcomes of treatment by the special expertise and compassion that they bring each day to the care of children. It's wonderful to have seen that evolve over the years.
Back in 1965, when 6 pioneering child life specialists were first discussing the formation of the Association for the Care of Children in Hospitals, it must have been hard to imagine that they were taking the first steps leading to the creation of an independent professional association, the Child Life Council, which is almost 5,000 members strong today. As we commemorate a remarkable 30 years of history and look forward to a bright future for the profession, we continue to be inspired by the passion and vision of those who paved the way for us. In 2012, we celebrate how far we have come and roll up our sleeves for the work that is still left to be done.
You are making such a difference in the lives of these children. Thank you so much. Keep up the good work and happy 30th anniversary.
I'd like to say happy anniversary and congratulations to the Child Life community. It is a real profession and a noble profession and a critical part of all that we do to deliver the best outcomes, experience, and value for children and their families. So thank you and keep it going.
We'd like to congratulate Child Life Council and Child Life specialists worldwide on their amazing contribution to the quality of care for seriously ill children and their families.
I feel very privileged to have had Child Life professionals as my colleagues for 35 years. And once again, I just want to say happy anniversary.
I would really like to congratulate the Child Life Council on 30 years of advocating on behalf of this really unique and special profession, and advocating on behalf of children and the quality of care that they receive.
What a great, great, great idea. I don't know why we haven't been doing it forever, but happy 30th, and here's to 1,000 more years.